Design Movie 3, we're going to go over a few of the techniques. The first one on Brittany April's was how she actually did special character tracking, character kerning within the letters of bottlenose. And you cannot accept what a computer just gives you. So I took the word bottlenose, doesn't matter the typeface, and I brought it into a kerning example, and I just typed it right out of the box. I wanted you to see that although a computer just gives you letter characters, they don't know that an O is supposed to have different variations. An S or a V or a W have to have better considerations when they come up next to either a T or a squared off character like an N or an E, especially if you have a W or a V next to each other. But look at how when you read this, look at how the look at how the BO looks completely separated from the TTLEN, almost to the point where you read this as Bo Tillin Aussie. And that's how I read this. It reads wrong. There's way too much space between the B and the O, the N and the O and the S and the E as compared to the TTLEN. Because those are basically right out of the box. So what I see this as three separate kind of words, even though it was supposed to be bottlenose. So I have actually correctly kerned this. And how you correctly kern this is I'm going to take the one that's on the bottom, and I'm going to show you that if you take your cursor and you place it right here between the B and the O, and let me just get a little closer with that. If you take it, let me just grab the hand and just move this over just slightly. Now, let me go back to the text cursor and put it right in here. If you go in different applications in Photoshop, it's either Option left right arrow or Command left right arrow. In Illustrator, it's Command left right arrow, I believe. In Photoshop, if you go hold the Option key and you hit the left arrow, you will move the O closer to the layer to the B until it looks visually correct. Now let's just hit the right hand cursor and move the T by going Option, left arrow, left arrow, left arrow, left arrow, and put it over until the spacing between the letters is visually, not technically, but visually correct. Okay, I just want that to, I just want that to look correct. So let's move this over again. Let's take the T key and let's move over to the NOSE. Let me back up a little bit, and now let's start with the O and the N. So I go Option, the left arrow until that looks correct. I move it over and I go Option left arrow until the S is now moving over closer, a little bit farther away, and now let's just do about 2 or 3 movements on the E. Now what I see here as I back this off is I've done individual character kerning, and I have made the word bottlenose. Let me remove those 3 boxes. I have made the word bottlenose, which didn't look correct. Let me move the second one off. Now look at how nice that looks. Look at how it reads bottlenose. In fact, I probably could open up that space just a little bit more between the B and the O, just a tiny bit more, or close down the E and the N just a little bit. You know, you can. There is a point where you can make this crazy, but if I close that space down just even 2 movements, that even looks better. Now when I back off on that, look at how this bottlenose reads better than that bottlenose. All right, enough on that. But please be very conscientious about your characters and how you are accepting what a computer gives you, especially you animators and you photographers and you graphics people, you video people who never really concern yourself with the design aspects of when you start dealing with titles and text. It's very important that you maintain consistency across all specialties, okay? One of the things that I wanted to talk about was this particular, this is done by Ron Hood, and how he has a discussion for Photoshop, and I'm going to end my talk here by showing you what Ron goes through in any typical design class. How you can look at how in here you're dealing with things in odd numbers. Look at how you're dealing with consistency and contrast, and how the contrast of this is wonderful, how it's light dark or dark on light. In this one, in this picture over here to the right, look at how these elements here, although there are in odd numbers, they don't have a good proximity of information. They weren't thought of in a grid, and how the one on the right looks better when you think of it in terms of a grid. Look at how the gridding of that one just has so much better feel than the one over here, which wasn't really thought out enough when it comes to alignments and just looking visually awkward. So I want you to go through this, and I want you to go through and see how this one was variation of shape, variation of thicknesses, variation of color, and giving somebody more variety within the design. Be careful you don't do too much variety, but also be careful that everything isn't exactly the same line weight, or everything isn't perfectly 100% consistent, because that isn't visually stimulating. What you want is a good atypical asymmetric feel to your designs. Let's go to the next one, because let me go Command 0 so I can do this. Ron brought this up because obviously the one on the left is got many too inconsistencies. The one on the right is simply too separated in proximity of information. The best in this case, and you can fix the one in the middle by doing different graphic elements back there and having them flow. The one obviously on the right has good balance, good proximity of information, and good flow on the page. It doesn't mean the one on the middle couldn't have been worked in with graphic elements. Okay, let's go to the next page. The next page is simply showing you, think of the genre that you're in and think of what you're doing. The sans serif text doesn't work very well, and the block text with the theme of ballet. So try to have consistency and a common approach to what your theme is, as per what typeface you choose and what look you choose throughout the whole thing. I'm going to advance forward to this one, because this one is a great example of doing things in odd numbers. Look at how there are 5 boxes. Look at how and one of the questions Ron asks is, how many typefaces are in this one? The answer is, there's only one. It's just different variations on that single typeface. Look at how there are 3 columns. Look at how there is really good graphic grid alignments. Look at how one of the boxes, yes, one of the boxes is a different size. Look at how in proximity of information you have the box interrupting and pushing the text over. Look at how that consistency goes across to the center column. Look at how there are no widows. Look at the line ragging and how beautiful it is. So why he has this handout here is for you to look at and not just pass it over, to see quality consistency. On this one, he always brings up the fact that in the atypical way that you're supposed to have a character look into the page, look at how by her looking off the page or down to the logo, it's accepted because she is actually bringing you straight down. So even though you might not consider that you should have a character looking not to the center of the page rather than to the left hand side of the page, and both characters do, that in itself is a really good design method. Look at how we have orange down here versus orange here versus orange here. It's got very good balance. Look at how the green is up here and down here. Look at how the headline, how the I lines directly up with her eyes here. Look at how the F lines directly up with the side of her profile right there. So there are design fundamentals that I want you to pay attention to. One of the things, before I forget, that I wanted to actually show was this. Let me go back to this one. No, just a minute. Let me hit the F button and minimize this, because this is the one I wanted to go back to. Nope, this one. I wanted you to see how many times that the character got taken off the page, that the entire character wasn't entirely on the page. And let me go back here. Look at Justin's. Look at how by having the rest of the tiger off the page, you feel the world is bigger. It's more broad, that this design is almost bigger than life. That's the beauty of having that character and some of that character be off the page. That's the beauty of having some of this character be off the page. Let me go back to the beginning here. Let me go to the number 1. Look at how by having the dolphins go off the page, look at how you feel the world is bigger than this. Look at how you feel that that world is absolutely gorgeous. I went into Command L so I could just get this done. Look at how by having that dolphin go off the page, it's so important that you finish off the dolphin. You get to, as the person who is experiencing this ad, you want to give people an experience when they're looking at your ads. So something I should have told you from the step 1. That's why I have 3 movies here. I want to feel when I look at your ad, when I'm viewing your portfolio, and especially if I'm the client who's going to hire you, that you're giving me an experience. Look at the nice line ragging and the whole feel of this, and we can get into tangents and arrows and hanging punctuation and everything else, which I am going to be very sticky about. But look at the beauty of these, and look at how all of these characters make the world feel bigger. Design is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be intriguing. It's supposed to give you an experience filled with passion, and that's what I'm looking for from you. Okay? So how many times does that happen? Look at the character of those trucks. Even though this is a very harsh ad, it's very rough as compared to some of the other ones, it still works. She took the panda off the interior graphic. All right, might have been a little bit better if she had taken one of the wolves off and off of the side to the right, but it still works. It's still beautiful. The cars, look at how that car goes off the page. Look at how the rest of the car over here goes off the page. Look at how she didn't bother showing the driver's side fender. That is so, gives me an experience. I get to feel the rest of that. I feel that car is bigger than life, or just the idea of it is. It's just, it keeps on going. Look at how the scissors are cropped. I don't have to finish. I can finish off those scissors. Look at how the chairs make you feel that the world is larger than what this ad has to offer. I can keep on going on this, but it's just a really cool thing to think about. And I would like to have you consider all of that throughout this. Please examine the ads. Look at, this is so atypical. Look at how the main graphic on this is actually over to the left-hand side, where it was perfectly thought out. This is where the thumbnail was so important to the photographer, meaning if the photographer didn't see the thumbnail, they wouldn't see that it was important that the line actually flow into the rest of where those bikers are, and how this is what the art director wanted the photographer to gather. Look at how the graphic is to the left, yet the focus is to the right. Look at how the push and the whole visual direction is from left to right. So well thought out. That is the only bad tangent on this ad that I think they should have considered. Okay, there's so many things here that are just working. Are these ads simple? Yes. Are they extremely well thought out and well designed? You betcha. So the last thing here was, this is a project from one of the design classes. Look at how they took the assets of this one and go through and see how the students actually redesigned this. Let me move this up so we can see the rest of it. Look at how the students actually redesigned this. They took the same headline, give us your body for a week and we'll give you back your mind. Just did magnificent jobs. Look at the rule of thirds there. Look at proximity of information. Look at the alignments. Look at the flow direction of this. The things in odd numbers. Look at how everything falls into place. And that's what I want you to start breaking down ads with. It's why I made 3 movies for this, and why I hope you watched it all the way through till the end, because I'm going to be very picky, and so are the design teachers when they come and actually help with the grading of this, and that's what they're going to do. So I look forward to your solution. I look forward to seeing your ideas, and we'll get right into it. Thanks.